Ultimate MK Podquest.
I have an idea.
Okay.
We can do a cold open.
Yeah.
And I'm just I have a thought. So let's see where this takes us.
Can this be part of the cold open? Us figuring out how to open a podcast?
Yeah, if you want.
Let's see how it goes.
Chase your dreams. So, Neil.
Corey.
You tell me that we need a cold open, and I can think of only one particular subject matter to bring you, and it's that your drink, you say, is too cold.
It's too cold, dude.
How? What does that mean?
Oh, I just took it out of the fridge, and it was very cold in the fridge, and now it's making my throat coffee. Not coffee, but coughing, whatever. Jesus Christ.
Right. Yeah, that's
too
good.
cold.
So that's too cool, you would say. It's too cool.
Yes. Maybe I am just not cool enough for Mountain Dew Zero Sugar.
Right. Do you know what's cooler than being cool? There's multiple acceptable answers to this.
First thing popped in my head, ice cold.
That I'll accept that, but what I was looking for was sending voice messages into this show about Mortal Kombat Federation of Martial Arts.
That was my third guess.
What was your second guess?
My second guess was Sub-Zero, obviously.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Okay. But we're here for the third one.
Yeah, we got a couple messages from listeners who we apparently ruined their brains.
Yeah, convenient of them to blame us for this. We did this.
Well, I think we're going to lead off here with a message we got from everybody's favorite Mortal Kombat character, Paul, because he only blames me.
That's true, which is very funny.
Yeah. You want to take a listen to that?
Please.
Okay, so I was just listening to the podcast, and I have physically just paused the podcast and have started recording now because I lost my mind watching this thing earlier today. My productivity was completely shot, got nothing done because I was just sort of sitting here shell-shocked after whatever the hell the Federation of Martial Arts was. Jimmy Cage absolutely destroyed me for some reason. I just saw Jimmy Cage and just started almost choking. Also, Quan Chi, as soon as I saw friend of the show, Adani Moropis on the screen, I was like, oh my god, they got Quan Chi. And then I realized, wait, that's totally a shot from the last episode of Conquest when he dies, when he's trapped by the monks and they're about to decapitate him or whatever. And that just snippet appeared, and I'm like, wait, are they just going to use B-roll of him and somehow make it look like he's fighting? It's like, no, they're not even going to do that. We're just going to not use his face anymore outside of a couple of random close-ups and just make fucking the dude fight a green JPEG that appears every now and then. The best shit I've ever seen in my life. What have you done to me? Why am I watching this? Why do I seem to care so much about this? Neil,
My fault. He blames
It's
me.
really, really funny that it's only your fault. And I think if you listen back to the rest of this show, that bears itself out.
All of this is my fault. You wouldn't be doing any of these things without me.
Well, okay. A couple of the movies I probably would have watched, but even back to the good stuff, which of course I mean Mortal Kombat Conquest.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this was sort of your pushing and prodding. And I think it reached its natural chaotic conclusion last week, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now we're just sort of floating in space.
We are. I'm kind of directionless without.
And you fucked up Paul real bad.
Yeah.
Paul's going to lose his job.
I'm glad I was able to do some damage on the way out of the Threshold universe.
We're bringing it down with us.
Federation of Martial Arts was just a weird fucking thing because I honestly haven't stopped thinking about it since I watched it and we talked about it. I'm never. Still thinking about it now. I don't think I'll ever stop. It is
I don't know
wild.
if this makes me sound insane. It's one of the only episodes of this show I was like, I need to listen back to this as soon as I can. I need to relive that stat.
Yeah. So again, if anybody out there hasn't checked it out yet, fucking check it out.
Do yourself a favor.
You know
Run,
what?
don't walk. You
know how we jokingly on occasion try to get season 2 of Mortal Kombat Conquest made?
I think that we should start a petition, and I think it should say, everybody go watch Mortal Kombat Federation of Martial Arts. That's petition number 1.
Yes.
And then petition number 2 is make more of that.
Make more of that. Give me the live action. Give me the TV version of that show. Jesus Christ.
What I want everybody to do is I want you to look up karate combat on YouTube. And you're going to think a couple things, some of them problematic, but in particular, I want you to think, why does this look like a weird video game, except it's real? Why does this just look like Tekken, but it's real people? And I want you to think of the potential for that kind of set fixture, but they just did this. Thank you.
Also, while you're there, look up Mortal Kombat Federation of Martial Arts.
Yeah. Also, while you're there, look up MK Podquest and hit that fucking subscribe button and hit the bell.
Also, while you're on YouTube, why don't you look up the Next Issue podcast? Because we've got a message here from our friend Danny, and they have a custom YouTube URL, which we don't have because they have more subscribers. And I'm not bitter about it at all.
No.
But let's, you want to take a listen to this nice message Danny sent us?
Yeah, I haven't heard this one.
What's up, Comeback Crew? Danny here. I just want to first wish you a very happy 1 year of the podcast. I can't believe you guys have been doing this for so long. Feels like just yesterday. That was Mortal Kombat related. That's not the movies that actually hit the TV. And then I don't want to say that you guys are the ones that made it happen, but I feel like this podcast made it so that Conquest would be added to HBO.
Oh, 100%.
I wouldn't be surprised
that was us.
This
Thank you.
podcast is also responsible for like some kind of relaunch of that Threshold universe. I mean, you guys are making waves and making moves. I do have a few things. I will call them grievances, for lack of
grievances.
How dare you make me watch Defenders of the Realm? This Bad Babies cartoon. But at least I enjoyed seeing how you guys would tie it up into, oh yeah, this is canon for everything. My biggest grievance though, how dare you make me watch that Martial Arts Federation or Federation of Martial Arts thing on YouTube. You have broken my YouTube algorithm, and I need my YouTube algorithm to work properly. It'll take years to...
What is in it now? I need to know.
But I love the podcast, love what you guys are doing. Hope you guys are having fun, because I think that's the main part of it. Hope Neil got a better chair at some point.
Neil.
Corey can find the drink of the, that will finally satisfy whatever Corey's looking for in a drink.
If only I knew. That's the problem.
With the podcast, I think it's so much fun. I can't wait to see what you guys do next. I mean, there's still a few things that I know are unexplored, but with a K. So I look forward to see how you guys pivot there. Which I know eventually will take you to the comics, and I can't wait for that because I love the MK10 comics. So yeah, you guys have a good one. Take it easy, Danny out, and to quote my I'm gonna call him my friend Ben Mekler. Finish him.
Yeah, I am gonna call him my friend. I love that. Thank you, Danny. That was really sweet.
That was lots to unpack there. First of all, sorry about your YouTube algorithm.
Yeah, I would love to know what's in it now. Like, is it just like martial arts tips and tricks?
Yeah, sorry we made it better.
It's that and clips from the Baz Luhrmann Romeo and Juliet, and that's it.
Also, I think one important thing that we need to be clear about here is that whatever we end up talking about on this show in the future, we are not going to be talking about anything that could be considered official Mortal Kombat canon. So we will not be talking about the Mortal Kombat 10 comics ever. Our job is to talk about the weird shit that's unofficial.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I mean,
but there's other...
If they wanted to write
comics.
some MK10 comics, MKX, I suppose is what it's actually called, that aren't canon, I mean...
Yeah, fuck it.
We need to do an episode where we each find a fanfic and read it and present it to the other person.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Because that shit's not canon.
100% we're going to do. We're going to do
I just
that.
had a Jimmy Neutron-esque brain blast.
We'll figure that out. Finally, I think the pivot once we're done with Mortal Kombat content is pretty clear. We're gonna be a Pacific Blue podcast.
Honestly, you could make an argument that we could be a Wing Commander podcast.
Do you want to do a series where we watch the Wing Commander cartoon?
maybe I could be convinced.
Let's figure that out off air.
Yeah. But hey, Danny, don't worry. We got plans. Paul, don't worry. We'll traumatize you again.
We got schemes. We got Shao Kahn level plots.
Speaking of fan fiction, this is us basically spinning a yarn.
Speaking of Ben Mekler.
And Ben Mekler. We're wrapping Ben Mekler in some yarn in this one about the first, that's not true, about the, oh boy, I forget what episodes it was actually. I'm going to back out of this whole sentence.
We sat down with Ben Mekler from Mortal Podcast and literally nothing else to talk about, to continue telling him the story of the great Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat Conquest. I think this time we sit down and talk about episode 7 through 11.
That sounds right.
That brings us up to the halfway point of the series. So if you've missed our first part of that, it's in our podcast feed. The episode is also available on Ben's Patreon.
And if you want the next one sooner, that's where you can get it. But
we're not going to plug that because we don't get any money from that. So if you want to support us and what we do, go to ko-fi.com/MK Podquest.
And for no reason, if you want to subscribe to Netflix and watch Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts, I won't stop you.
Yeah, whatever that has to do with anyone.
No, nobody knows.
All right. So let's, you want to just jump right into our conversation with Ben Mekler?
Let's go, sports fans.
In each of us, there burns the soul of a podcaster. In every generation, a few are chosen to prove it. During a pandemic, in the time of darkness and fury, that fate befell two strangers brought together by the internet. An iPod Classic user, Corey, and a guy with two Zooms, Neil, who have to defend our realm from the forces of boredom by watching and discussing every episode of the short-lived television series Mortal Kombat Conquest on a show called
MK Podquest.
Welcome to Mortal Podcast. I'm your host, Ben Mekler, and this is the show where I walk my friends through the entirety of Mortal Kombat lore from the perspective of a single character, but not today. Today, doing another flipperoo. I got the boys from MK Podquest, Corey Price and Neil Hallstrom. Hello, Corey. Hello, Neil.
Hello.
What's up?
Jesus fucking Christ. Good God. Corey and Neil, as you may or may not know, have an incredible podcast of their own. I would hate to call it a spin-off of Mortal Podquest, but I do hope I inspired them in some way by bringing them together in the Discord for the Patreon for Mortal Podcast, which you're a subscriber, you're listening to this. This is bonus content for said show, or you're not listening to this part because Corey and Neil cut it out because it's going up on their channel.
100% chopping it right out.
Mm-hmm, just slice it. So
we're turning this into bonus content for our show. If you give us money, you get to hear when Ben said
you get to hear the part where I said the part where about how Corey and Neil met because of my show. So
MK Podquest Origins is what we're going to call that episode.
Well, that's pretty good. Sub-Zero. Just call it MK Podquest Origins Sub-Zero.
There we go.
So for those of you who don't know, MK Podquest is a podcast that had covered every episode of the television series Mortal Kombat Conquest, is currently, at the time of this recording, covering the series Mortal Kombat: Defenders of the Realm.
Yep.
Yep. And
really bad.
And this is actually the second installment of our crossover. We've already done part one, which hopefully you've already listened to. If not, get the fuck out of this audio right now and go listen to the first one, in which the boys walked me through how many episodes of Mortal Kombat Conquest?
6
episodes. Today, we're going to be walking through the next 5 episodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That gets us to the halfway point. There are 22 total.
Mm-hmm.
This gets
same number of episodes as Shasta McNasty.
Yeah,
okay.
Famously.
Yeah.
Famously the same exact number of episodes. Hey, I forget if we talked about this last time, but my old film school professor Chip Chalmers directed an episode of Mortal Kombat Conquest. Have we covered that episode already?
I got to look into that. That might be covered this time.
Ooh, well,
Let's
I want to
figure that
know
out
because I
right
want to
now.
know. I want to know how he did. Which I kind of remember because I made him give me a VHS copy of that episode in film school, which he did very begrudgingly and was pretty annoyed that I was asking him. But that was now many years ago, and I don't completely recall. Other than thinking there was some pretty sweet ninja stuff, and thinking about Chip directing ninja stuff was entertaining to me.
We are not going to cover
you'd
that this time.
expect to do so.
Right.
That will be on the next round of these that we go. He did episode 13, Twisted Truths, and that was a good one.
Well, I did already ask Chip if he would come on the show with me to talk about that episode, and he did he liked my question, but he did not respond.
Can I say that we had a similar interaction with Paolo Montalban asking him to come on the show? He hardened the message and then didn't say anything else.
He's going to do it. Paolo's going to do it.
He'll do it.
Yeah.
Just message him again and go, but seriously. Say nothing else.
No, I think that'll work.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, Neil, are you good? You just sounded a little bit...
I'm good. I was going to say
something. It sounded
something.
like you bumped your head.
Yeah.
It sounded like a bucket fell off of like a parapet above your head and bonked you.
It sounded like you fell out of your terrible folding chair that you sit in.
This is the sturdiest $12 folding chair you'll ever see.
Shouldn't you be able to like engineer a proper chair, Neil? You're so good at building and construction and making things that last and that can be fortified.
I could, but I'm busy doing that for other people. I don't have a whole lot of time to do that for myself.
So it's a bit of a seize the means of production situation, and then you can build yourself a chair.
Got it.
I am sitting about 4 feet away from a Mies van der Rohe Barcelona chair that I got for free.
What is that?
It's the, well, you may recognize it as the chair in the lobby of Stark Industries in the first Iron Man movie.
I wouldn't.
It's designed by Ludwig Mies van der Rohe, architect.
Why aren't you in that chair?
It's really low. It's hard to get to the desk and see the computer from it, but
Where'd you get
very
it?
comfortable. Oh, I got it in a trade with this. It's a sad story. We were helping this lady, whose brother, who was an architect, passed away, and she wasn't going to get much for this thing in resale because it wasn't in great condition. So she offered it to me if I carried a giant CRT television down 3 flights of stairs and got rid of it for her.
Oh.
And in exchange, I got a $5,000 chair.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Asked and answered.
Yep.
Listen, what was she going to do with it? She doesn't care.
I mean, the place she was reselling to, they weren't going to give her anything for it. And I've honestly wanted one of these for a very long time. So I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I don't care if the leather's cracked.
There you go.
And now Neil gets to sit in his own house like the Maxell cassette tape logo guy.
100%.
Just really low, really comfortable.
That's actually how I listen to Mortal Podcasts. I just crank the speakers up, I slouch down, and I just let the podcast blow me back like that Maxell commercial or whatever.
Jesus Christ. So, before we get into the actual episodes, Ben, we did have a question.
Yes.
We just said there's something that you're going to notice over this next lot of episodes that we're doing. There's kind of a theme that ties them all together.
Yes.
And in this particular instance, there is a lot of Kung Lao being deceived by various enemies, various friends at times, tricked, pranked, all kinds of things. So the question that we wanted to ask you, Ben, is there a time in your life when you've been deceived?
Ooh, that's a good question, Corey. You know, the time that comes immediately to mind, and I hesitate to repeat myself, so stop me if I've already told the story on the show, because I feel like I may have. But I wasn't allowed to buy like parental advisory CDs, M-rated video games when I was like a very little kid. And I also didn't really have money to buy video games. So I'd rent games, and that was how I played a lot of the Mortal Kombat games that were home releases.
Sure.
When I wasn't at the arcade. Yeah. And one day I was on the playground, had to have been 7 or 8, maybe. And this kid was like, "Hey, I have Mortal Kombat Trilogy, and I'll sell it to you for," I want to say he told me like $5 or $10.
Holy
and
shit.
So I like saved up. I like sold something I had to someone at like my mom used to go take us flea markets to like sell stuff we didn't need anymore, or like have a garage sale at the house. And so like I got the money together and I paid the kid, and he brought a Mortal Kombat Trilogy jewel case to the playground, and he handed it to me, and I was like, fuck yeah. And then he walked away, and I opened it up, and there was no disc inside.
That's terrible.
What a
and he just avoided me for the rest of the year.
Is that a situation where you could potentially, like, if this happened at school, like, invoke the school and be like, hey, I've been robbed? Or was this just...
Probably.
Kids don't think to do that, though.
Yeah, I think it's like, in part, I didn't think to do it. And in part, I want to say, like, I wasn't really supposed to be buying it anyway. Right. So it was like this thing where I was kind of caught. I had no like options other than to like get screwed. I could have like attacked him, I guess, and taken my money back. And that was like my one option. But I wasn't really the like fighting type at that point.
So
I hadn't been pushed to my limits.
Right.
If you paid $5 for that jewel case, we can make this right. We can actually make some money for you. You can buy a disc. Was this the PlayStation version?
It was the PS1 version, yeah.
Sure, yeah. So for $25, you can get a disc, throw it in that case, and turn around and sell that fucker for $65.
Really?
Yeah.
You think I still have that jewel case?
I mean, I have all of mine from when I was a child, so I assume
no, this is a totem of one of my greatest betrayals. I discarded it immediately.
Well, you threw away a lot of money there.
Burned it in effigy of yourself because
I wasn't a smart child. Yeah, I also got rid of a lot of Beanie Babies. It could have been a millionaire.
No, those were never going to be worth it.
Corey, was that before your time, Beanie Babies?
I'm familiar with it. I had a few in my day. I think it was before my time in the sense that, like, by the time I was aware of it, those certainly weren't valuable anymore.
It was a bit by then, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like everybody was in on it, except for one person that you probably knew in your life who was convinced. Probably like people with like crypto now who were like, no, this is the one.
This is going to turn around. This is how I make my fortune. Sure.
Were people pumping and dumping Beanie Babies? Like, how did that work?
Maybe.
People just buy huge lots of them? I don't know.
Remember when they had like McDonald's Happy Meal Beanie Babies?
That was the only ones I could get. Yeah.
And there were like parents standing outside in the drive-through line trying to give people extra money to buy extra Happy Meals.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
This is for real. Because there was a limit on the number you could get. So they'd be like, can you get a Happy Meal too? I'll pay for it. I'll pay extra. And you can give me that and the Beanie Baby. Like, yeah, people were.
Oh my God.
If I were to Google right now or search eBay right now for McDonald's Beanie Baby, what would you guess one is worth?
Ooh.
$7.
I'll take the over on that. I'll say like 15.
Let's see.
Are we going by like the price that it's sold for or what people have it listed at?
All right. There's a few for listings. Someone has put a bid of $4.75 on a Beanie Baby that's ending in less than an hour. So I'd say this is pretty telling.
Yeah, I think that's good for them.
For a McDonald's Beanie Baby, unwrapped, but tag is still on. That said, I see Maple the Bear, McDonald's Beanie Baby, 1997, rare, with 2 tag errors, $675 or best offer.
Whoa.
Jeez.
I also see 1997 McDonald's Beanie Babies complete set of 4 international bears in their packages for $45. No tag errors, so obviously you can't really upcharge on those. And then I see a more recognizable one to me, the like purple little Beanie Baby they gave you at McDonald's in a plastic bag, has not been opened for $150 or best offer, and it's sponsored, so that person paid to.
That's a big time dealer.
Yeah, and then I see a lot. I see a lot of the opened Beanie Babies for $5, the whole set.
4 International Bear Jamboree is my favorite Disney ride.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it seems like generally people aim high and settle pretty low. But I see a lot of McDonald's Beanie Babies. If you search by ending soonest, you could scroll for... I still haven't gotten to the end of it, and I've been scrolling through this entire sentence, and they're all ending in an hour and have 0 bids. So there's not much of a market. Yeah. Oh, wow, it just keeps going. There's just hundreds and hundreds
of
McDonald's Beanie Babies listed that have 0 bids. Yeah.
What people must be hoping for with those higher prices is like duping somebody.
I
Is that it?
guess.
Or like, are they hoping to get an actual hardcore collector? I don't know if those people still
I think they're
exist.
just hoping to like make whatever they went through back in the day worth it. I am still scrolling, by the way, and it's still just more and more and more. I'm gonna say I've probably scrolled through 1,000 posts that end in the next 24 hours that have 0 bids.
What a genuinely haunting thought that many people are trying that right now.
Yeah, it really shows you how connected we all are as humans. Like, we're all just doing the same stuff.
Yeah, we're all just trying to resell Beanie Babies.
Guys, I'm still scrolling, and it's still, there's just more and more. Oh my God. There are so many people listing Beanie Babies right now and getting no bids.
At this rate, you can scroll through this whole recording and probably not be done by the time it was over.
I will.
Well, you know what? I think we'll just talk at you about Kung Lao, and you just keep checking on these Beanie Baby prices.
Yeah. Last thought on Beanie Babies, and we should probably get into it. Have you ever see? Okay, I just got to one that has 5 bids. $3 for a brand new lot of every McDonald's Beanie Baby ever, including the international ones.
Define brand new. Like, are they reproducing them?
They haven't been touched, I guess, is the answer. They've barely been fondled at all.
Only handled with gloves.
Last thought on Beanie Babies is, have you guys seen the photo of the couple in divorce court splitting up their Beanie Babies on the floor?
Yes.
It is one of my favorite pictures. I can't wait to show that to my daughter and explain to her in like 20 years, attempt to explain what she's looking at.
Do we want to I wish we could hazard a guess on which of that couple made out the best. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't think you could. I don't think either of them made out anywhere near anything you could consider best.
That was just kind of a bad day for everybody.
Yeah, I don't think anyone felt good about what happened that day, which was going to be the case anyway because it was divorce court. So like,
at least it was colorful.
At least they made memories.
Yeah, they got to play with their toys in court. That's always fun.
They're shared for everybody. That's like I won't dwell on this too much, but one time I went to a wedding when I was a kid, and kids tend to get bored at those, and I was allowed to play my DS just during the entirety of the wedding.
Nice.
And I was playing a game that maybe I shouldn't have been playing, like a Brothers in Arms like shooter game. So while in a wedding, I was playing a mission where you had to rocket launcher the steeple off of a church, which is just stuck in my head for a long time as a really weird piece of
a little too real
cognitive dissonance, I guess, between like being in a church for someone's most joyous occasion and just being like, hey kid, you want to blow up a church in this video game? Anyway, that came to mind. I felt like I had to say that.
You did. It came up and you were like, I should say that out loud.
Ben getting a front row seat to the stuff that gets cut out of MK Podquest.
I'm leaving this all in.
Oh, that's fine.
This is all going in. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So do we want to get to it, Neil?
Should we do just a brief refresher of last time since it's been a while?
That's probably
sure.
idea.
I would love that.
The general setup of the show.
Yeah.
You know, we've got it's set in a city called Zhuzhen, roughly 500 years, we'll say, before the first Mortal Kombat movie. We're following the great Kung Lao. He just came off a victory against Shang Tsung in the Mortal Kombat tournament. Didn't kill Shang Tsung. Shao Kahn imprisons Shang Tsung in the cobalt mines. Kung Lao moves to the city where his girlfriend lives, Jen. She is killed by Scorpion, who has possessed the body of one of the trading post bodyguards named Takeda. He's made friends with a guy named Ciro, who used to work at the trading post, and a thief named Taja, who tried to murder Jen in that first episode. And now they're all just living in the trading post, and Shao Kahn and Shang Tsung keep sending people to murder them. That's pretty much it.
They have episodic adventures.
Yep. Just to catch anybody up.
Okay.
So we're going to pick up here at episode 7 when the combat crew, as we call them, Kung Lao, Ciro, and Taja, have decided to reopen the trading post, Rayland Imports, for business, right? And Kung
How's
Lao,
that spelled, Rayland?
Reyland, Rayland.
Rayland. Okay, sounds a little futuristic for Mortal Kombat, especially ancient era.
Well, over time, the spelling gets changed. It's actually Wayland Yutani from the Alien movies.
Oh, I got it. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So, so one morning, Kung Lao is just sort of coming back in from the market, and he sees Zero running the trading post. And Zero is just trying to fleece one of the monks from the Temple of the Order of Light, a guy named Master Lee. He's trying to Master Lee wants to trade some apples, I think, from their orchard, from their crop, for some cooking spices. And Zero's just like, no, you're not giving me enough value, blah, 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 blah. Kung Lao cuts in. He's like, hey, come on, these guys are monks. They don't have any money. You got to give them a break. So Zero's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll give this guy a break. And he makes the trade for all the cooking spices. And Kung Lao's kind of proud of him. And Zero's like, joke's on that guy. I still made twice the profit off his dumb monk ass. And that's sort of Kung Lao's like first introduction to Zero and Taja, who are kind of going to be a little bit greedy with running the trading post. And it's just not something he's used to, right?
Yeah, of course.
I think Taja and Zero have both said that commerce is just another word for burglary.
Damn, that's kind of profound, to be honest.
Yeah, they're really leaning into a very like hardcore capitalist ethos of just tricking people into giving you more.
Yes.
And
they're like, we didn't create the system, so we're just playing the hand we were dealt. Is their kind of perspective on it, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're all trapped in this same thing. We're just playing the game better, essentially. You'll see a lot of the setups that we're going to encounter today end up revolving around Kung Lao is just presented with something he's not used to people doing and needs to decide how to react to that.
Well, he grew up in the temple, just training to be a weapon his whole life. He's not really used to this,
and then succeeded. Yes. So it's just like waiting until another Mortal Kombat tournament, and that may not be what shows up, but later on, after some bickering about how they went about that, they go to close the trading post, and this woman shows up, who we've never met before. Her name is Jola, and she is from the Black Dragon. And she's like, oh my god.
Dang, dude, is this the first time the old BD has shown up in Conquest?
Yes.
Shit.
Yeah, so
I didn't know they rolled back that far on account of they didn't, because Kano made them.
Yes, that's correct. So the Black Dragon is here, and Jola is like, hey, this is my trading post. Don't you know who I am? Don't you know who my dad is? The guy who runs the Black Dragon? You guys owe me this, because the guy who used to run it, Baron Rayland, was deep in debt with the Black Dragon. And I'm not going to take no for an answer. You got to give me this place back. And not a single person, thank you, Neil, for the visual aid. Not a single person reacts positively to this. Zero and Kung Lao end up fighting some goons. It very instantly becomes violent, as everything basically does in this show.
In the franchise.
Yeah, so it's a pretty cool fight. Bunch of kicking, a guy with a knife. Great. And then a new person shows up named Cabral, who is Jola's brother.
Yeah. Cabral.
And he...
It's like Steve Brule saying Cabal.
He looks like the biggest douche in the world.
He doesn't look like Cabal.
No, he has a dragon tattoo on the side of his face, and he's in all leather.
Kind of Dagon-esque.
Yeah, and he's trying to get Jola to back off. He's like, hey, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out.
I'm willing to say right now, Taven and Dagon, clear ripoffs of Cabral from Mortal Kombat Conquest, 100%.
At least heavily influenced. Also, he looks like Joe Manganiello as Flash Thompson in Spider-Man.
That's a really good. That's a really good pull.
Yeah.
So the Black Dragon kind of leave for a bit. We don't get to. I don't think Kung Lao doesn't meet the dad yet, so we don't get to talk about the dad yet. But,
I don't think he never meets the dad. Right?
No, because the dad gets murdered.
Dad's gonna get murdered, but Kung Lao's not there for that.
It happens to the best of us.
Kung Lao and Zero get in an argument over this, because once Cabral shows up, he like chills out his sister Jola.
I can't with that fucking name.
He like chills out his sister Jola, and he's like, "Come on, like we're going to get out of here. We don't have to do this with violence, but you guys need to know that the trading post is going to be ours. It belongs to us. So Kung Lao and Zero start having kind of an argument about how to go about this situation. Zero's thought is, oh, I know about the Black Dragon. They control all of the crime in the city and the drugs and the women and everything. And what we need to do...
And somehow Kung Lao just doesn't know this.
Yes.
Never heard of him once in his life.
Sure.
Lives here, but just completely blissfully unaware that the Black Dragon runs all the crime in the city.
Yes. Somehow the Black Dragon and the
If only we
Lin
could
Kuei
all
are sharing
be
the
as blissfully
territory.
ignorant.
Honestly, what a life.
So Zero wants to like go down, and he's like, we got to hunt them down and kill them and put a stop to this, or else they're just going to keep pressing us for more and more shit, right? And Kung Lao's like, yeah, but I don't know. Like, I'm a monk and I'm a good boy, and I don't know if that's the right thing to do. Maybe we should just do what they say. That's the core of his conflict in this, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to spend his time over this entire episode sort of mulling over that idea, right? Having conversations with Raiden. Raiden's not really going to be able to help him out with this. It's just a lot of...
Yeah, this doesn't really have anything to do with
not
protecting Earth or like the Mortal Kombat tournament. I'm not super invested.
Yeah, well, and a lot of it boils down to essentially like in lives that are already so violent, Kung Lao's essentially like, how do we decide the necessity of violence? Which is a heady thing that they don't necessarily get into. But Zero is very much just like out for blood, and Kung Lao wants him to relax. So though perhaps Zero was justified, because in the morning, Taja heads out because this show hates when their women characters are interesting and just sends them to do menial shit.
I think they literally sent her out to go shopping.
Yes, like 3 times in this episode, she's sent to go shopping. It's fucking ridiculous. But
good God.
So they wake up. Zero's being a bit of a baby about it still, but then they open the door to the trading post, and there is a monk's body pinned to the door, dead.
That very same monk that they were trading spices with earlier.
Master Lee got both by capitalism.
Zero just starts going through his pockets,
and the Black Dragon. And
his pockets are just full of loose spices, and Zero just takes them all back to resell them.
There's a note with Master Lee's body that says, "One will die each day until our demands are met." Though it is worth noting that nobody over the course of the night or into the morning before they got up thought it was important to remove the body from the door, draw this to anybody's attention. This is very much typical Jujin behavior. Bodies end up on doors.
You can just see crowds of people going about their business right outside as this dead monk was pinned to the front door of the trading post.
Huh.
Yeah. The city's brutal.
That's a valid... Yeah.
I feel like I would probably just not live there if I had my druthers considering.
Yeah, Jujin, it's an interesting city. People are constantly being terrorized, but everybody seems like completely fine with it.
Yeah.
And speaking of people getting completely terrorized, that's what Zero would like to do. He, being the big burly barbarian man that he is like, it's time to go full eye for an eye. I'm going to go start murdering people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Kung Lao's like, he tries to be like, if you escalate it, it's going to get worse. And Zero's like, it's already gotten worse. A monk got pinned to our door. Are you scared of them? And then Kung Lao says, I'm not scared of them. I'm scared of you.
Yeah.
And then Zero leaves, and he's like, I'm just going to go do what we got to do, man. Fuck you.
Right. So then some amount of time passes. Kung Lao's out, I don't know, meditating by the lake like he likes to do. And he comes back to the trading post, pardon me. And he walks in. Yeah, God, Jesus Christ. Let's start the whole episode over. He walks into the trading post and he sees Cabral just tied to a table. And there's like a pendulum swinging like overhead.
What in tarnation?
Zero has captured Cabral and tied him to a table of the trading post and is torturing him, threatening to slice him in half with this pendulum.
This is extremely elaborate. Like, the setup is like, the fact that he's been able to rig this up is kind of incredible.
Within a relatively short amount of time.
Tonally, there's been a bit of a shift just from the last batch of episodes you guys told me about.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden, we're like full on, it's a cartoon.
It's a
the
cartoon.
Man rigged a pendulum to get revenge for a monk that he was trying to rip off moments earlier?
Yeah, you got it.
Basically. I mean, for all we know, that pendulum's always there. This is just the first time we've seen it. You know,
yeah, he was like, I'm going to take her to the town pendulum.
Yeah. They don't do stocks in Jujin. It's been done.
Got it. No, that's fair.
Yeah.
To whom I'm not sure, but.
So no, you got it.
All right. So Kung Lao pulls a dagger, and he pulls it like he's going to pull it on Zero, but then he uses it to just cut Cabral free, and he lets him go. And Zero's just mad about this. He just really, really wants to fucking kill somebody, right? And they're about to start.
Just like run away?
Yeah, basically, he just
leaves.
Let him go. He just goes out the door and leaves. And Zero and Kung Lao are about to like get in a fight over this when Raiden pops in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Taja comes home also, I guess, from shopping.
Not that the show fucking cares.
We really don't see much of her in this episode at all. Raiden intervenes and he's like, come on, you guys got to talk about this, right? Taja wants to just pay the Black Dragon and make them go away because she's also afraid of them. She's been on the streets. She's a thief. She knows what they're about. Zero wants to murder all of them. And then Kung Lao's just kind of like, I don't know, maybe if we just ignore this, it'll all go away. Like totally forgetting that Zero just had one of their high-ranking members tied to a table in the middle of
it's been escalated. Like the moment for passivity, no matter what Kung Lao's decision is, it's passed. Like he needs to make some kind of call, and Kung Lao is not hugely interested in doing that. Raiden tells him, look, man, you need to introspect a bit. You need to think about this, come down to an answer. Zero, fucking relax. You're freaking everybody out. But Kung Lao, think about this. Think about this. You have to make a decision, but if you don't get all of the same page, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
And the thing that we've glossed over here is that we learned
from Kassar. That's the wrong guy. We'll talk about him later. We learned from Cabral that the leader of the Black Dragon had been murdered, and Cabral thinks that Zero did it. But
that's fair at this point for him.
Considering the way he's been treated.
He assumed his dad got the pendulum, which, I mean, you know, who among us hasn't been there? So Kung Lao actually reaches out first. He sends a note to Cabral, and he's like, fuck it, we're not dealing with this anymore. We're going to give the trading post back. And Cabral's reading the note, and he's like, cool, problem solved. But Jola sees him and is like, Cabral is like, what did you do? Oh, you killed our dad. And right as he has that realization, Cabral is murdered.
Yes.
So
Kung Lao wasn't there for this, but that's
behind
an important
the
detail.
scenes, Jola has been in the cobalt mines and dealing with Shang Tsung and getting magical black dragon powers, blah, 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 the usual. And so
Jola has murdered her dad to steal a dragon medallion that has the powers of the Black Dragon locked inside, and taken that to Shang Tsung to have him unlock the powers and turn her into a half dragon lady.
Okay, so the powers of the Black Dragon is to be a dragon.
Yes.
Yeah, and so Kung Lao doesn't know this, but
hold on.
Thank you for the visual.
Image of her transformation here for Ben.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, what more do you need to say about that? That's exactly what you would think that is.
That's just the transformation. Here she is in her battle gear proper.
Oh. Well, does she not look like she has a dinosaur puppet head on her head all the time?
The show doesn't have that kind of budget, Ben.
But when she shoots fire out of her hands, they do turn into tiny dragons spitting fire.
Okay.
And so, to be clear, it's not really explained either what the power of the Black Dragon means.
Other than it gives you the power to shoot a black dragon's head out of any part of your body you want.
Presumably, we only see it come out of two, but presumably pretty much anything she chooses.
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
And so she has been on this power trip the whole time, gets dragon powers, and is like, I'm so fucking ready to go. I'm going to go kill everybody. I'm going to impress Shang Tsung, who she's kind of trying to like strike a deal with at this point, because she needed his help to get the powers. And she shows up at the trading post, dragon arms in tow, shooting fire around, running around.
immediately, so the combat crew was waiting for the Black Dragon to show up. So they're ready to attack, right? This was their plan, was to lure him here under peaceful negotiations, but then just kick their asses.
Sure.
So they're ready and waiting, but they weren't ready for Jola to show up. So as soon as Jola gets there, she kicks the front door in and just immediately knocks Taja out by hitting her with the door accidentally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then they all fight. And the fight doesn't really go anywhere because as Jola's just using her fire dragon powers, she just sort of runs out of energy and then gets pulled through a portal back into the cobalt mines. And that's it. We never see the Black Dragon again.
Wait, like at all?
At all.
That's it.
At all.
Huh.
So they did have a plan. There was a plan that they wanted to have the fight at the trading post. They wanted home field advantage. They wanted to have this thing kind of set up. And what happens instead is Jola's hubris of wanting magical powers comes back to bite her because she was overzealous. And then she gets trapped in the mines and we never see them again. And so I know what you might be thinking. This whole episode's kind of impetus was about, the necessity of violence and trying to get everybody to agree. And if they could solve this problem by coming together. And what happens instead is a fight kind of fizzles out and somebody gets sucked into a portal and they leave.
Yes.
And then
I guess that's more realistic, right? Because sometimes you think you build up in your head like what something's going to be, like these Beanie Babies are going to make me rich, and then instead what happens is thousands of listings appear at the same time every day for decades, and no one bids on them.
Yeah,
this is definitely the Beanie Babies of Mortal Kombat Conquest episodes.
This iteration of the Black Dragon is
the Black Dragon are the Beanie Babies.
Yeah,
yes.
100%. Yeah,
I get it.
So with all of their leaders killed, right? Black Dragon Daddy, as we call him, dead. Cabral, dead. By the way, I noticed in my notes I spelled Cabral's name differently at least 3 different times.
You did.
That's not on you.
And now Jola trapped in the mines. I don't know how the Black Dragon's ever going to get out of this. So,
and we never find out, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, they won't because the series is done.
Yeah.
Well, no, we're holding out hope, Ben. Much like the people trying to sell Beanie Babies on eBay to this very day. We're the people who are going to be carrying the flag at the front, the tip of the spear for the Mortal Kombat Conquest reboot that we all deserve.
The thin Black Dragon line.
Brutal. So that's it for that first episode. So now that you've been sort of reacquainted with Mortal Kombat Conquest again, how was that for you?
Frustrating.
That's my least favorite episode of the entire series. There are probably worse ones. This one is just
it's the most
annoying. I mean, don't think for a second that I didn't enjoy the absolute mania of Zero.
Oh yeah.
And we're almost underselling it. He is out for
Deranged.
Blood from
He's a
anybody.
Dangerous man. No one should hang out with him. He's too dangerous.
And as a reminder, picture Daniel Bernhardt in a swashbuckling shirt.
Yeah.
I'd rather not.
Really?
Well, you could.
It's a good site. I got a picture right here. Hold on.
Just Ben said no, and you're just well, I've got a photo, so you don't even have to.
I gotta warm him up. I gotta warm him up to it because there's gonna be more pictures of Zero. So.
Oh yeah. What happened to the actor who plays Zero? What's he do now?
He's a stunt coordinator guy.
He's a stunt coordinator, stunt man. He's pretty heavy in the marketing and promotion of the what was the Bob Odenkirk movie? Nobody. Yeah.
He's in that.
He's in that. And he trained Bob Odenkirk and was stunt coordinator on that movie.
That's pretty cool. Did you see that movie?
I haven't seen it yet, no. I saw his clip when he fights in the subway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neil is sort of experiencing all of his pop culture now through the lens of Mortal Kombat Conquest. So he just kind of
pretty much
out.
exclusively. Yeah.
Who among us? Yeah.
Here's a little trivia for you.
That's his first time hearing it with the game Among Us. It's because you said it in the same sentence as Mortal Kombat Conquest.
Okay, I will add that to my list of things to investigate.
Yeah.
Greg Vaughn is the guy who plays Cabral. He also starred in a movie called Poison Ivy: The New Seduction, and I think he's currently on a soap opera.
He was also in Children of the Corn 5 Fields of Terror.
Yeah.
Which we did on They Made Another One.
Yes.
Good.
Anyway, that's a setup for later. All right. So sometime after this, Zero and Kung Lao have kind of patched up their friendship. And they're just like going out in the morning.
Or their relationship.
Yes, that's right. They are. We do ship them. I think the show makes a pretty solid case for their relationship. So, but one morning they're getting up to have some tea and they hear this weird noise. So they open the door to the trading post and they just see the ghost of Taja, like floating in the air, like a spectral version of Taja. And then the specter starts talking and it's Shang Tsung's voice coming through it. And he's basically telling them that he has their friend. And if they want her back, they have to go to a portal in the North Alley at night. Right?
Right.
And they're like, oh shit, we haven't seen Taja since sometime last night. We're bad friends. We better go find out if this is a prank or not. Right? Because he could just be fooling us to get us through a portal. So they're going to spend the day snooping through her room and going out into the town to ask if anybody knows anything about their friend Taja, the person that they've been living with and gone into business with for several weeks at this point.
If not longer.
If not
it's
longer.
Kind of unclear. Yeah. And yeah, so this whole setup is they're bad at being friends with people and need help finding their lost friend.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the stuff that we can't really get into from Kung Lao's perspective, just as a bit of setup, is that Taja has been coaxed into the cobalt mines with the promise that her dad is there, that she thought was dead or not around, or something, by Shang Tsung in Vorpax. And I can't believe it took us this long to finally get to Vorpax. I'm glad she showed up. But
all right, Vorpax.
Yeah, everybody's favorite Mortal Kombat character, obviously.
We would have done this from the perspective of Vorpax, but it would have just been a lot of sitting around in the cobalt mines.
Yeah, that's the trick with that. But so they're sort of Taja's trying to negotiate that situation. Meanwhile, her stupid friends are digging through her stuff to try to see if they can learn anything about her, where she might have gone, who she hangs out with, whatever. Yeah. And mixed results. Early on, it doesn't go great at the beginning.
No,
a lot of people that they ask, like in the market things, they're just like, "Why don't you know her better? Like, what do you mean you need our help with?"
They find something called a bola ball, which is used for some kind of a gambling game, but they don't know that. They recognize it as being sold in the bazaar, so they go talk to the merchant, and they're like, "Oh yeah, why do you guys have that? That's Taja's favorite. She wouldn't give that to anybody. Are you sure you guys are actually friends with her?" Then they go into the back alley and they find the game, and the tough guys running the game are like, "What do you care about Taja? She's never mentioned you to us. We're going to kill you and throw you in the lake if you're here to bust up our illegal gambling game. We're not going to give you any information at all." Then they proceed to give them a bunch of information about like where she might be, but none of it matters.
Also, the guy at the bowling game, just to be clear, is talking like, "Hey, I'm walking here." Like he's very
sure.
Yeah. Like any back alley gambling you see in sort of any kind of...
What is Bola Ball comparable to?
Bocce, but with gambling?
Okay.
I don't know what bocce ball is. My assumption is it's probably similar to like craps, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's like
craps,
hardcore marbles.
Is.
Can you play Pogs with balls? It might be like Pogs. It's probably like Pogs.
I don't know if there's a funnier contrast of like cultural touchstones than me saying bocce ball and you saying craps to try to explain this game.
It's hardcore shuffleboard.
It's some variation of that. I wish they took time to explain it. I would have been a lot more interested in an episode that involved Zero and Kung Lao having to get good at Bola Ball to try to like win some kind of key that helps them get Taja back, like sort of amp it up like a sports story. Unfortunately, that's not what happens. It's a lot of them genuinely just kind of wandering around, and Zero gets mad again. He really wants to kick that dude's ass. Kung Lao won't let him. That's going to continue to happen basically every episode. Zero just really wants to fuck somebody up. Nobody will let him, and he's very upset by it. So
we can fast forward a little bit. They finally.
Do we want to go to when Kung Lao goes to grab that quartz?
So they finally decide that this must be a legit threat, and Taja must be down in the cobalt mines because she's been missing like almost all day now, and it's time to go through the portal. But they're like, this is absolutely a trap. We know this. We could get trapped down there too. But then Kung Lao remembers something. Now, Ben, I don't know if you remember from last time we talked when they encountered the Lin Kuei and Sub-Zero. And Sub-Zero was after a particular crystal artifact that they found.
Yes.
And that crystal allows passage between realms, right?
Of course.
And Kung Lao,
Classic
of course.
Mortal Kombat realm crystal.
Yeah, 100%. Why wouldn't?
Yeah. Who's the keeper of the crystal, Corey, that we talked about today?
Oh, Ramath, the keeper of the crystal realm.
Yeah. Presumably Ramath, keeper of the crystal realm from Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm, is familiar with this.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Famously, Katana's like new dad.
Yes.
You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's this basic Mortal Kombat knowledge.
Ramath?
Ramath, keeper of the crystal realm. Yes.
You have to say the full thing or it doesn't count.
Like if Ray Romano was a moth.
Yeah. Exactly. 100%. Yeah, just like
got
that.
It.
I love how stupid this extended lore gets so much.
So Kung Lao didn't give that crystal over to Raiden like Raiden wanted. He took it to his lady on the side, and we did talk about her last episode.
We did.
This is Kung Lao's side piece in the city. So he goes and gives her a little late night visit. She answers the door.
Very monkey.
Just in her underwear.
Mm-hmm.
Really slacking with these visual aids.
And he's like,
I don't have
hey,
one of
do
that.
You have that thing for me?
Oh, wait, I do have one of that. Here we go.
Jesus Christ, Neil.
There we go. Great. Why is Kung Lao holding a crystal?
So he goes and gets the crystal.
He's
and now they're ready to go into Outworld.
So intently.
They're ready to go into Outworld to rescue their friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they do that. Kung Lao doesn't want Zero to go. Zero insists. They go in together. They're going to do it Kung Lao's way, together, blah, 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 blah. They're going to be good friends for once in 8 episodes. And they arrive in the mines, and everyone's there. Shang Tsung's there. Vorpax is there. Taj is there. The boys are there.
Of course.
We see those classic, from the movie, the Outworld warriors with the red, wrapped around their head and the parachute pants.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of those guys hanging out down there.
I mean, you had to get your money's worth for those costumes, right?
Yeah, they already had them. So
yeah. And so when they get down there, Taja fills them in. Hey, I was tricked here by the specter of my dad from Shang Tsung to get me trapped in the mines to bait you down here. And basically, here we are. And so from there, what happens is Shang Tsung is like, ha-ha, gotcha. You're stuck down here now. And he's going to get a bunch of warriors who are also trapped inside the cobalt mines and fight Kung Lao. And Kung Lao can't do anything because the rules of the Elder Gods don't apply.
Yeah. Shang Tsung can't fight Kung Lao directly, but he can subvert the rules of the Elder Gods by making Kung Lao fight other warriors down there. So he's not technically breaking rules, right?
Yeah, sure.
Technically. In this universe anyway, right? So Zero's going to fight first, and what does he do? Is this when he fights the guy fighting with monkey style?
Yeah, it is.
Hu Quan. Yeah, he fights a dude fighting with Hu Quan.
Why are these people trapped here? Is there a reason? Do we know what is bound to them?
There's just tons of warriors trapped in the cobalt mines.
It's kind of prison. It's like you got Shao Kahn's ire.
Yeah.
Into the cobalt mines. You basically
they'll send you down there for looking
slave
at
jail.
Wrong,
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So Zero fights first, and he manages to defeat this first guy, and then it's we get a little Shang Tsung, little reference to the 95 movie where he says that was just a taste of things to come, which is also kind of a gross thing to say out loud on a podcast.
Yeah.
And now
especially with a pregnant pause right after it. It's just kind of not a good combination of sounds.
Yeah. Please make the pause longer in the episode.
Yeah.
Really make it uncomfortable.
I'll stretch it out. About 10 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. And then it's Kung Lao's turn, but Kung Lao kind of finagles his positioning to be near Zero and Taja. And then he springs the crystal out. Right? He's going to get them all out of there. Plan worked. He's going to rescue everybody. Rescue Taja. Zero's going to get out. Kung Lao's going to get out. Except Taja runs off because she doesn't want to leave without her father. So then that kind of monkeys up the whole plan.
I'm sorry, what does it do?
Because of the monkey fighting
Monkeys
style guy.
Is that a phrase? It monkeys it up?
Monkeys it up?
Really?
Yeah.
Is this a Florida thing? Am I being pranked?
Well, you know how if you tried to get a monkey to do something that like a person could do, they probably wouldn't do as good a job just because generally like, you know, their ability to have self-control, their motor skills are different from ours. So when you monkey something up, it's to kind of just screw it up, to mess it up.
Yeah. Thank you for validating me on that phrase.
Okay, fair enough.
Not a recording goes by where Corey doesn't hardcore grill me about something I say.
It is a Florida thing. It's a specific reference to the skunk ape, which is the Florida Bigfoot, but it smells like shit.
Yeah.
Is that real?
Yeah, some areas they say that really skunk aped up the plan.
Dude, Florida sounds...
But it's a little clunky.
Skunk ape's 100% real. You should. You keep going, and I'll find a visual aid for the skunk ape to share in the.
If you try to type it in, it fills in autofill skunk ape strain, which is perfect.
Yeah, that's the next strain of COVID-19 is the skunk ape strain.
Oh dear God, no.
Yeah, we gotta get our numbers down. I shared a picture for you of the skunk ape.
I can't wait for this to load.
Yeah, there he is.
It's taking its time on my end, but trust me, you'll get a reaction once I have it.
So in college in Tallahassee, I met people who swore they'd seen and smelled the skunk ape.
Wow, that's a lot. The eyes are really okay.
Yeah, skunk ape's pretty scary. He's Florida's Bigfoot.
Shiver.
The difference being that he smells like shit.
So, there's a bunch of fighting, right? And Kung Lao has his genius plan. And he's like, I've got a crystal. We're leaving. And he turns it on. And then they don't leave. And then they all get trapped in a fucking cage.
Yeah.
Because Tasha doesn't just go with everybody.
Yeah. There they are. Trapped in a stone cage. Yeah. Tasha runs off. But then I guess... And Shang has the crystal, which is bad news, right? Because now Shang can just get out of the cobalt mines if he wants, right? But his plan is to, now he's like, I got Kung Lao, and I have Zero, and I have the crystal. I can take all of this stuff to Shao Kahn, and it's gonna get me back on his good side. He's gonna get me out of here, right? But Tasha had a change of heart, and she comes back and starts trying to free the boys with like a shovel and a pickaxe and like all like just your basic tools. They're just laying around everywhere
Minecraft tools
in these cobalt mines, right?
Yeah.
And then Vorpax pops in. And they talk about betrayal or some shit. And then Vorpax calls for Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung comes in, starts force choking Zero. But they're able to get out of the cage. They fight a couple dudes. And they're able to just escape with the crystal. That's basically it. They all get out of there just fine.
Great.
Yeah. That's that episode.
That's basically it. That one, yet again, kind of ends on a bit of a...
Easy peasy.
Bit of a sour note. Because it's just like, okay, they got out. And then they just kind of, they learn a little bit more about Tasha. They learn that she misses her family. They learn that she has a boyfriend named Stefan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and he gambles in back alleys. And clearly cheats on her. Yeah, this was an episode that focused largely on Tasha and Vorpax in the cobalt mines. We kind of start to learn that Vorpax isn't really an ally of Shang Tsung. She's kind of like working with him because she's trying to survive down there.
Right.
But she's
an opportunist.
She's playing all the angles.
A victim
for sure.
in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that was a pretty good one, honestly, overall. Always nice to
have a little bit of everything, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. But this next threat.
Before we get there, I'm just wondering for Ben, getting this just from Kung Lao's perspective, does it feel cohesive?
Does it feel cohesive when you're watching the show?
Yeah, because when you're watching the show, you get to see everything, right? See, this is my plan.
What this experience is like.
It feels cohesive in the same way that like watching Hercules' Legendary Journeys felt cohesive. You know, It's like there's certainly a clear gist to the low budget live action adventure series from the 90s that I'm very familiar with. And this really fits right in. It fits the mold. It's like, yeah, of course there was an episode where it's like, you know, we start off Act 1, it's like, we got to get this, there's something to do with the crystal. And then the crystal's going to somehow lead to us fighting some people in a limited set that probably a couple other shows shot on that week. and then at the end of the episode, you reset.
Yeah, all the other shows that needed living skeleton walls.
Here's the set, by the way. Yeah. It fucking rules.
That does rule.
Yeah.
Good.
And this episode had all, like Corey just mentioned, living skeleton walls. At one point, there is, in fact, a living skeleton wall you see down there. Just skeletons half in a wall, swinging their arms around and moaning.
There's the biggest question I have is why Kung Lao keeps hanging out with Zero.
Well, because he's good in bed. Honestly, like they fuck. They guarantee they fuck.
They have to. There's no way they don't. The tension between them. Are you kidding? And look at them. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Two hot people.
It's got to be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been flying that flag for a long time. For us, it's just like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So this episode is exciting. I'm going to tell you what the name of it is, just to sort of build some hype. Episode 9 is just called Quan Chi.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it about Quan Chi?
He is. He's here.
Quan Chi is here. So after this weird excursion in the mines and across the city, realizing that they've all been bad friends to each other, the crew decides to go out to dinner at the Zhujian Applebee's, right? Mm-hmm. And they're just hanging out, eating rum cakes, drinking a lot. Zero, my note here says that Zero is both hungry and thirsty because he's definitely flirting with the server. And Kung Lao leaves the table. He's got to get up early to go to the Order of the Light Temple because one of the monks is getting promoted to master, and it's a really big deal, right? So as he's walking home from the restaurant, he's walking through this alley, and a woman runs up to him, begging him for help because someone's being tortured. A woman's being tortured down the alley. Please help us out. So Kung Lao goes with him, and we see two women in like black leather and like domino masks, just sort of playground pushing a third woman in between them. So there's 5 people here. There's Kung Lao, the woman who came to get his help, and then these 3, right?
Okay.
So Kung Lao intervenes. He's like, stop, leave her alone. And he takes the poor woman who's being pushed around and hands her to the woman who brought him here. And he's like, keep her safe. And he's talking to the other 2 bullies. And he's like, hey, quit picking on that lady. And then
the woman who sought his help snaps the woman's neck and says, actually, fuck you. We're here to fight you.
Yes.
So now 3 people left are fighting Kung Lao. So there was
black and red leather domino masks.
A woman who came to get him, and the 2 bullies are in cahoots. Yes. And that 4th woman was just collateral damage.
Just an innocent bystander who became a victim.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so they fight.
They all fight.
It's pretty sick.
It is. It's a good fight.
Kung Lao kind of losing.
Yeah.
Pretty hard, actually.
He's able to like take out 2 of the women, but the 3rd one is just really kicking his ass. And he gets knocked down, and she's about to cut him with a blade when suddenly Taja pops in and just like kicks that woman in the face. And Zero's fight right behind her, and the 3 bandit ladies all run off. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Taja got to do some fighting for once, and that was nice to see. Next morning, Kung Lao gets up, and he's heading over to the temple for the ceremony. He invites Taja. Taja famously anti-church, so she doesn't want to go.
Right.
And while Kung Lao's on his way out to the temple, he hears a woman in the woods screaming for help. Blonde woman.
And
he
Ben,
finds her.
If your instant thought is, he was just tricked by a woman claiming distress mere moments ago. Is he really going to do this again? That's a justifiable concern for you to have. Because he encounters a woman out in the woods bound to a tree by her neck with like a leather wrap, and it's wet. So the implication being the leather would dry and choke her as it got tighter. And
that's a very that's a reach.
It is a reach.
That's a real thinker of a torture device. I feel like if you're really trying to torture someone, you need to do it in a way where they understand the context of the threat immediately.
Right. And so initially, like, the risk to her initially is she's just stuck to a tree, because who knows how long it'll take to dry out. Like, I don't know if they've practiced this, if it's like magical leather that's made for killing.
Magic choker leather.
Yeah. I mean, we live in a wild world. Zhu Jin is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But what
now
happens...
I've played enough The Witcher to know that this is about to be a trick.
Oh, certainly it is.
He's about to get pranked hard.
She claims it was the work of some highwaymen, and he's like, "Are you okay?" Cuts her free. Is like, "Hey, are you all right? We're going to the temple. Come with us. We can look after you there. Don't worry about it." And she's like, "No, don't worry. I'm meeting my husband later."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he
important note.
Yeah.
As he's helping her up, she cuts him on his arm by accident with her nail.
Well, by accident in gigantic scare quotes.
Yes.
She cuts him completely on purpose with her fingernail. And then Kung Lao's like, "Well, that hurt and was weird. Okay, here's some food. I'm going to leave, I guess."
Yes.
So when Kung Lao all circles back around, we're all back at the trading post. Kung Lao
coming back
bullies
into
a
town.
Child.
Real dick to a child on his way in.
And
comes into the trading post.
Oh my god. Yeah. Keep going. Sorry. Just so stupid. This scene is somebody gets called a pig boy in this scene.
Yeah. Comes in the trading post. Zero and Taja are just yelling at each other. Zero's accusing Taja of stealing from him. Taja's calling him a drunk. She calls him a pig boy. Kung Lao's in the middle of this fight, and he's not having it. He is just pissed and just yells at both of them just to shut the hell up. Tells them they both make him sick, and he can't stand either of them. Right. Mm-hmm. So he's had a major attitude shift on his trip through the woods to the temple and back. I do think it's important right now to note that the woman he encountered in the woods was played by Jamie Presley.
Oh,
from my
I thought
My
it
Name
was
Is
implied.
Earl. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would just figure that one out naturally, I think.
Yeah.
Also star of Poison Ivy, The New Seduction, with Greg Vaughn, who played Cabral in the Black Dragon episode. Always like to point that out.
There's going to be an even more famous person coming up in a couple episodes. I'm pretty excited.
Oh, yeah, there is.
So I know what you might be thinking, Ben. Why is everybody being so mean?
I gotta say, I was thinking that, but I'm guessing the answer is Quan Chi.
It might be, but we don't know yet for sure. We can't rule that out. They spend a lot of time continuing to fight, but Zero goes out. He goes to Zhu Jin Applebee's. He's being a real handsy, drunky creepo to the waitress.
Yes.
And he comes home, and he's just getting blasted drunk, and he's playing around with a scarf.
Yeah.
And Kung Lao comes in. He's like,
he's up in Jen's old bedroom. Kung Lao's deceased girlfriend. Going through her stuff, playing with her scarves. It's pretty.
And he's like, "You motherfucker! I told you not to go in here. I swear to God, you are a used-up, freeloading bodyguard who couldn't even do your job right when you had it. You let my girlfriend die," and then they start fighting instantly on the bed.
Instantly,
they're just going at it in
trying
bed, but not in that way.
Not this time.
The more violent way.
Yeah, this time.
We're really going to put the emphasis on this whole thing. Yeah. But so there's like fighting with chairs. There's fighting with fists, kicks, all sorts of things. It gets pretty heated, pretty violent. And
now Kung Lao is Mortal Kombat champion. He is, at this point, everyone believes, the chosen one who's going to save Earthrealm.
Yeah, naturally.
Well, he already kind of did. He's going to continue to save Earthrealm.
He beats the sober into Zero. And suddenly Zero is like,
arguably beats the drunk out of him as well. And Ciro's like, hold on, what's happening? This is what are we doing this for? And then as he's having that realization, Kung Lao kicks him out a window off a balcony to the ground.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Dude looks dead.
Dude looks at Raiden, snaps into the scene. Raiden lightnings in and he goes, hell of a hit. I think you killed him.
Yeah. Kung Lao, dismissively looking down, just sort of waves his hand and says, just let him lay there.
And then he goes on like a Joker rant where he's like, I have no friends and I only have enemies and I understand society. And
all I'm made to do is fight. I'm tired of this. You're all holding me back, blah, blah, blah. You know.
Yeah, really this is essentially the episode where everybody gets Joker-fied.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone's a Joker.
Yeah. And Kung Lao is not done with this bloodlust.
No. It's only getting started.
He goes to the Order of the Temple of Light. Remember, today was the day where somebody was going to get promoted and it was going to be really happy and great for everybody. He goes to the Order of the Temple of Light. He kicks the shit out of every single person there.
All of them.
When Raiden arrives, he is about to behead somebody.
Yes. He is just torn through, kicking the shit out of monk after monk. He's got a sword. He is about to slice one of his master's heads clean off when Raiden pops in with Ciro and Taja, right?
And Raiden says, now, have you heard about this Quan Chi guy?
Yeah, because he has.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
dumb.
Quan Chi's plan was to poison Kung Lao and taint his soul with evil so that when he was killed, his soul would go to the nether realm and Quan Chi could have it.
Mm-hmm.
That was the original plan of having his assassins, Mika, Cian, and Sora attack him in the alley. They were going to cut him with that blade.
Quan Chi stuff, yeah.
Yeah. They were going to cut him with that blade, and that was going to poison him. And when that didn't work, they split up and enacted 3 separate plans to poison all 3 members of the combat crew. And it worked.
That's why Taja's doing all that stealing, Ciro's doing all that creepy gross man stuff, and Kung Lao just viciously wants to kill everybody.
Yeah. So what it does, it brings out the darkest parts of your soul, right? So
classic soul darkness.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah, classic soul darkness. Hold on.
There we go.
Okay.
In the divorce court where they were splitting up those piles of Beanie Babies, one of the 2 people in that couple were having that exact experience.
They were both being influenced by Quan Chi.
Yeah.
Totally.
100%.
Yeah. So now Raiden's at the Temple of Light with Bloodlust Kung Lao, and he's having a talk with all of them like, listen, the only way to get over this magic is to accept that all of these dark parts of you are a part of you. Like, Ciro, you need to be okay with the fact that you want to drink and assault women, apparently. And Taja, you need to accept that you are a thief and just own that that's a part of your soul. And Kung Lao...
To be clear, accept and then stop doing that. Like, recognize it and then stop. Raiden's not saying, like, okay, I guess this is just who you are.
Yeah.
Go figure it out.
Don't deny it. Understand that's a part of you. You can control it that way. You know, positive thinking, etc. And
some
Kung
of the
Lao,
most positive Raiden has been to date.
Really?
He's usually a bit of a smarmy asshole.
This was a good Raiden episode, honestly. I remember this. We're like, this is the best Raiden we've gotten so far. And I think since...
it's like, what, 7 episodes in?
9.
9 episodes in. Yeah.
They were warming up. They had 3 or 4 seasons they knew they were going to get.
Right. Yeah. Yes. They had plans for, I mean, this was going to be The Sopranos, really. No? All right.
Dude, I wish. No, I'm just thinking about how...
What's The Sopranos?
Yeah, what is that?
Is that show?
Is it a show? Is it an opera show?
It's about...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. I know it's not Mortal Kombat.
It's Phantom of the Opera from the perspective of the choir.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Bit
Where
of a
they're
fun
just
remix.
Watching people get murdered and they're like, whew, glad it isn't me.
But one day,
or
Ben,
they're like, what's up with all these people? What? Everyone's so weird in this theater.
What's everybody talking about in this theater?
I'm just trying to be in the opera. Christine's talking about ghosts. This Ral guy's freaking out. And the diva's she got her doggy.
I just came to sing. I came from small town Iowa. I'm in the big city.
Yeah, it'd be tight if someone in Phantom of the Opera in France was from Iowa. Yeah, I flew in for this.
Kicking myself because I should have said Mortal Kombat Conquest was going to be the next The Wire.
It's pretty good.
Anyway,
so it was Quan Chi.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Ben,
at the
do you
temple,
know what Quan Chi looks like?
I mean, I thought I did. Am I about to find out I was wrong?
he looks fucking incredible on this show.
He looks so good.
This is the best a live action Quan Chi can ever hope to look.
Oh, okay.
Played by Adani Meropis, friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. This guy he kind of looks like the Rob Liefeld Captain America.
Just like the huge upper body.
Right.
His
but
chest is far too big for all of the rest of him.
Yeah. So he does take that armor off. I guess we'll get there. So right about this time, Quan Chi finally reveals himself to the combat crew, and he's got his assassins with him.
We haven't named yet.
I named
Sora, didn't you? Did you?
Mika, Cian, and Sora. Yeah. That's two of them anyway.
Those fucking cat burglar masks are so funny.
So he shows up and he's ready to sick his assassins on Kung Lao, right? And Raiden steps in and he's not going to let this happen. And Quan Chi's like, you can't interfere in the battles between mortals. And Raiden's like, but your assassins aren't mortals. They're zombie women, right? And he's like, shit, you're right. And Raiden just like snaps them away and they're gone. So now it's got to be Quan Chi versus Kung Lao. He can't hide behind his assassins anymore.
Earlier in the episode, we do see proof that, as Quan Chi is bullying his employees, that he is the one who is helping them look human and like young still, and that he's threatening to take it away among all of his other abusive tendencies.
Yeah, he's a gross dude in this, honestly.
Performance is fucking knockout, though.
Tremendous.
He's great.
Tremendous. Best acting on the show. Anyway, so now Kung Lao and Quan Chi fight, and it's a pretty brutal fight. Kung Lao still seems to be like full of hatred and rage, and he's taking all of this out on Quan Chi.
Which I'm assuming Quan Chi hadn't considered, that all he did was just like gas up Kung Lao to be really good at fighting because he's pissed off, and then the tables have turned somewhat.
Sure. And once Quan Chi realizes he's going to lose the fight, he sort of stops and he thinks like, oh, well, good thing I've already corrupted your soul this far, so when you die, it'll be mine. And Raiden's like, ha, pranked you, buddy. Kung Lao's back to normal. And Quan Chi's like,
he's just pissed because he fucking hates you. He's not pissed because of evil magic.
Yeah.
This is just real rage. That's genuine rage.
That is genuinely, honestly, the reveal, is that Kung Lao is actually mad and not magically mad.
That's my secret, Cap. I was already angry.
Exactly.
Obviously, a complete ripoff of Mortal Kombat Conquest.
Totally, 100%. It's never been anything but that. So then Quan Chi's like, well, I guess there's no reason for me to stick around here anymore. And he just teleports away through a hole in the floor. And that's the end of the Quan Chi episode.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, what more do you
Don't worry. He'll be back. He'll be back right away, because episode 10 is called Unholy Alliance.
Quan Chi again.
It's called Unholy Alliance.
Okay, so what year did that episode air?
99, I believe.
Wow, so it really predates Deadly Alliance, too.
Complete
really
rip-off of Mortal Kombat Conquest, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat's just eating its own tail at this point, honestly. That's actually kind of true.
Ouroboros combat.
Yeah.
All right, so sometime after this Quan Chi encounter, everyone's sort of back to themselves.
Yeah.
And Kung Lao comes downstairs in the morning, and Ciro and Taja are sparring, and Ciro is telling Taja that she fights like a girl, which is a real cool thing to say.
Yeah.
Taja then bets Ciro.
Ciro's such a piece of shit.
It sucks because, like, if you watch the show, you can at least, like, he can get on your side because there's like a kind of like shitty charm to it all, but when you just describe it, it's nothing but terrible.
Really. He's got redeeming moments, but Kung Lao doesn't see a lot of them, honestly.
Yeah.
So Taja bet Ciro 24 hours of slave labor that she could take him down in one move. And then she immediately loses that bet.
Mm-hmm.
So Kung Lao's like really angry at them. He's like, come on, guys, this is not a joke. Like, Mortal Kombat is serious, and we're supposed to be training for that. It's kill or be killed. You guys got to take it seriously.
Oh, wow. I forgot that's what they were training for.
Yeah, training for Mortal Kombat, right?
Mortal Kombat, which at least Kung Lao did already win once, but they know it'll happen again.
Right.
Yeah.
So then he just sort of, like, he's just mad, and he fucks off into the city, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's wandering around, and Raiden shows up. Kung Lao tells Raiden he's in a bad mood because he's been having visions again. I think we talked about these visions in the last episode. Every now and then Kung Lao will have visions of his girlfriend Jen dying. They'll be interspliced with this sort of...
It's more like trauma than a vision, right?
Yeah, but he'll also be seeing like this monster, this kind of vague, like close-up silhouette of a monster. At this point, the show's starting to zoom out from that. And this monster is definitely Goro.
Okay.
He's having premonitions of this four-armed beast that's attacking him, right?
Well, I guess that's kind of cool because we know that Goro's the person who does eventually beat GKL at the Mortal Kombat tournament.
Yeah. But they're really...
That's pretty tight.
It is. And they were putting that in from episode 1. You don't catch on until you see the later ones, but it's the very same. You know, like I said, they zoom out a little bit more each time.
Right.
Yeah. So he's telling Raiden that he's having these visions, and he's again questioning himself in his quest. If, like, you know, he lost Jen, does he really want to be Mortal Kombat champion? Does he want to move on?
Is this a Mortal Kombat Conquest, or is he just a Mortal Kombat con? Thank you.
You're welcome.
I wish, couldn't you put the gunshot at the end of that one?
Sure, I got all kinds of buttons.
It really lands. Yeah.
There's such this perfect amount of delay until the gunshot actually goes off.
Oh yeah, I worked long and hard on that one.
Anyway, I just realized what time it is. It's fine.
Oh yeah,
keep going.
We'll be done.
Yeah,
we'll be done very soon.
All right, cool.
We can cut. I mean, do we need to cut one off? We can just finish up this one and hold the next one for next time.
I mean, you tell me what a good ending is.
Probably the next one.
I think we want to get to the next one.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll just do it double time, you know?
Yeah,
so,
let's do it.
Yeah.
Less time messing around in the back alleys gambling.
Yeah, no more bola ball.
Unfortunately, the next section of this episode is going to take place in the back alleys of Zhuzhen.
Because fuck.
Kung Lao's just kind of walking around, feeling shitty about being Mortal Kombat champion, feeling shitty about Zhuzhen and humanity in general. Like, he's really questioning. So he's walking down the aisles, the aisles of shops, the alleys. That's the word I was looking for. And people are like trying to sell him like alcohol and drugs. And one place parades a bunch of sex workers out in front of him, trying to get him to come inside. And he's just like disgusted with all of this behavior. And
he's a real straight edge kind of dude.
He really is. Yeah. And he's just like, I hate this. Right. And then one of the sex workers runs away from what are clearly her involuntary captors, and all of the guards chase after her. So Kung Lao chases after to help her, because whenever he sees a lady in trouble, he has to intervene, right?
Of course. He's just hoping to get another side piece, but he's acting like it's because he's a monk.
Sure, probably. So he's fighting dudes, chases the guards through this doorway, walks out of the doorway, and he's back in Zhuzhen, except it's different, right? It's colorful, and there's like tigers hanging out on the streets, and everybody's nice, and it's clean.
You said tigers?
Yeah, there's a tiger hanging out in the streets. Yeah.
All right.
Do we have a picture of the tiger, Neil?
I might have a picture of the tiger.
I mean, is it just a tiger? I've seen one.
It's just a tiger. You've seen one before.
Yeah, you don't have to. I don't need to.
Sorry, it's a baby tiger.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty cute.
Yeah.
And
no,
so
if you've only seen an adult tiger, just take that and make it smaller, and you're on the right track.
Got it.
Basically, yeah, essentially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he's in Zhuzhen, and it looks totally different. And he goes to the trading post, and he knocks on the door, and a guard answers, and the guard's like, "Can I help you?" And he's like, "What are you doing here? This is my house. I live here." And the guard is like, No. Baron Raylan lives here. This is his trading post.
Oh.
But you can come on in. And he goes inside, and Jen is there. His girlfriend.
That's not right. She's dead. She's dead.
Right.
That's correct.
Yeah.
However, here, she's still alive. And Kung Lao was like beside himself at this point. He's like, whoa, holy shit. You're here alive? What's happening? Like, how could this possibly be real? He's like, this isn't real. And she says, sure it is.
Yeah.
Which is maybe not the most ideal way to commit to your illusion, if that's what it is. But she's like, sure, it's real, whatever.
Does it work?
It works.
Yeah.
He's totally on. He's like,
then
okay.
it was fine.
Cool.
So Kung Lao's like, wow, this is amazing. And she's like, look, I know you're confused. Give it a day. Get used to it. Her dad busts in, total narc most of the time, but he's being
100%.
real nice.
Yeah.
Real cool.
They're
and that should
together.
be the thing that makes Kung Lao wonder what's going on. But they're just vibing, hanging out. He talks with the Baron, and the Baron's like, I'm a changed man.
Yeah.
And that's actively true because he was dead before and now he's alive.
Yeah.
That's a
He's
pretty
like,
big change.
I was given a second chance and I don't want to waste it. Please stay here with us. Stay here with Jen. You're going to love it here, buddy. And Kung Lao's like really working on this. He hasn't gotten laid in a while. So he's definitely like, you know, like that's enough of a reason for him to stay, honestly. But the next day, that was a very important detail. They were like, give this one day. And if you don't like it, you can leave. Right.
Give us a cool 24 hours of your time.
Yeah.
No reason.
Yeah. Just exactly, no less. He's got to be exactly 24 hours.
And now, Ben, if you're starting to have questions raised in your mind, that's a fair reaction.
Sure.
I'm not. My mind is empty.
Head empty. Nothing but Mortal Kombat Conquest. That's how Neil and I live our lives at this point.
Yeah, most of the time. So, some time passes. He's just in there hanging out with Jen, hanging out with Jen's dad. You know, we see some weird things happen as he's like mulling over his decision to stay. We see like the background behind him briefly turn into like a Windows 95 screensaver and then snap back. You know, we're getting the sense that this isn't all on the level. And
we are.
Yeah. And at some point towards the end of his 24-hour period, Zero and Taja show up at the trading post and they bust in and they're like, hey, Kung Lao, this place isn't real. You're trapped in a pocket dimension. Quan Chi and Shang Tsung teamed up to
they formed an unholy alliance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, hold on.
Maybe a gunshot in there too?
Do we have it without the rim shot? No. Okay.
There it is.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. You have to label these
buttons. It has
buttons,
to be with
Neil.
the rip shot. Got it.
I do have a 6 to 8 discrete air horns into gunshot sound effect. It's not loaded. I'll email it to you, Ben, and you can drop it in on.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I did.
So in the interest of time, it's the Unholy Alliance, and they made a pocket dimension, and they jammed him in there.
Yeah, they jammed him in there.
And
but
if he doesn't leave after a day, he's trapped.
But here's an important bit of information. Shang Tsung formed this alliance with Quan Chi in exchange for Quan Chi. Like Quan Chi said he'd work with him if he got to learn Shang Tsung's soul-sucking power.
Yeah.
Shang Tsung's
He's
not
about to get his soul sucked. Sorry.
So Quan Chi is the one who has gone to Zero and Taja, who are just busy fucking around with this slave bet for 24 hours. He approached Zero and Taja, told them where he was, took them to the portal, and teleported them in there to get Kung Lao out, just to spite Shang Tsung.
Okay.
So Quan Chi's really the one who saves Kung Lao from this.
Their alliance maybe lasts 18 minutes of actual episode time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like off screen mostly.
Yeah, and it's like a 40-minute episode.
Yeah.
So, long story short, they stab Jen in the belly and prove that she's an illusion, and then the world starts collapsing, and they have to make a break.
And Zero does it, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
He was probably hungry for it.
Yeah.
He was like, free murder? Are you kidding me? I'm in.
Kung
They're
Lao,
not even a person? Damn.
Kung Lao is still not wanting to leave, but finally he's like, all right, fine, the place is collapsing around me. I guess I should go. And he does, and they get back through the portal into the cool, awesome version of Zhuzhen where there's crime everywhere. And he's like now reckoning with the fact that he wanted to stay. He wanted to abandon his responsibilities as Mortal Kombat champion. He wanted to stay in that pocket dimension, even if it meant that he would just be trapped there in hell forever. He was willing to do that. Yeah. So he's got a lot to face. That's the end of that episode.
It's a lot to have to accept about yourself.
Totally.
A lot of Kung Lao's reckoning on a day-to-day basis is not wanting to be Mortal Kombat champion or have any of the responsibilities or traits that come with that whatsoever.
Yeah.
But sort of being stuck with that. And Raiden spends a lot of time saying, like, hey, man, you got to play the hand you're dealt. Let's figure this one out, bud. And to varying degrees of success, depending on the week.
Do we have time for one more?
Yeah, let's power through it.
All right. So
it's too funny to not get to this one.
We got 180 seconds on the clock.
Okay. Oh,
all right, Neil, go.
So Kung Lao's taking this responsibility seriously. After the experience in the pocket dimension, he's trying to train new warriors for Mortal Kombat, but he keeps accidentally breaking their arms and shit, so nobody wants to work with him.
Mm-hmm.
Then later in the day,
too powerful,
kind of like Steven Seagal.
Yes,
yeah,
he's going full Steven Seagal.
It's hard to get. He was having a hard time getting a stunt team because he would just hurt them for real.
Right. So then later in that same day, Tasha asks Kung Lao to watch the trading post because she has to run off and spy on some shit that's going on with Zero. Kung Lao is annoyed by this, but then a hot woman comes in to shop, so Kung Lao's suddenly fine with it. While he's catering to the customer, Zero comes back angry. Apparently, Zero's ex-girlfriend is in town, and she's looking for Zero's brother who's gone missing.
Her name is Hannah. She is played by Ava Mendez.
She is played by Ava Mendez.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, hello, Ava.
Yeah.
Welcome.
She is
Big kid.
She is Zero's ex-girlfriend who left him for his own brother. And this is the reason that Zero left home and traveled like 3,000 miles to Zhuzhen to get away from it all. Right? So they let Hannah stay in Jen's old room.
Which Zero is not happy about.
Not happy about this at all. And in the middle of the night, some ninjas break in to talk to Eva Mendes, right? Taja hears the commotion. She calls for Kung Lao. Kung Lao busts in and gets in a fight with these two ninjas. Knocks one of them out and the other one escapes. So they hand the ninja to Zero, who has, a thirst for blood and torturing people.
Oh, he loves that shit.
He really, really does. And apparently he's very, very fucking good at it because he is able to break this guy. He walks out of his interrogation with this ninja and he says, man, that guy was no Lin Kuei. He broke super fast. So it turns out my brother Kassar is working for Scorpion.
Working for Scorpion?
Scorpion is amassing an army on Earthrealm in service of Shang Tsung. In service of Shao Kahn.
Can you imagine getting hired by that guy? The job interview alone would be so strange.
Do you want to know what the job interview is?
There is the job. We do see it.
Oh, yeah.
You fight another warrior who's already in the organization.
Okay.
And one of you, whoever survives, gets to join.
And I know what you might be thinking. Is that a great way for like employee retention and building an army? The answer is absolutely not.
It is a terrible way to build an army.
He does insist upon it.
Because it's 1 in, 1 out every single time. You're not growing your numbers at all.
He doesn't seem, by he I mean Scorpion, doesn't seem to mind this.
Sure.
He just kind of is like, yep, that's the deal. And so Scorpion has this like hell headquarters, Netherrealm headquarters, fire everywhere, the usual.
Looks like a low budget version of what we saw in the Mortal Kombat movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly a lot less like scaffolding.
Less scaffolding. Yeah, he did some remodeling between this and Mortal Kombat 95. So now they got to hatch this plan to get Kassar out of the Scorpion cult, right? So the plan is to send Hannah in to pretend like she wants to join. Then Hannah gets Kassar to take a walk with her in the forest, and then they snag Kassar in a net.
The good guys snag Kassar in a net. To be clear, this was the whole plan.
That's the plan.
Yeah, it seems like a good plan. Nets are hard to get out of.
It 100% works. It absolutely worked. It worked. Yeah. They just Looney Tuned him. They Bugs Bunnied him and brought him back into the trading post, and they start trying to work on him and deprogram him, right? And one of the things Kung Lao does is say, look, you can fight with us. I know you got something to prove. You can fight with us, fight for honor. I'll let you go. we need warriors like you on our side, but if you want to go back to Scorpion, you're free to go. So Kassar leaves, and Zero goes with him. And then
I was seeing a free business opportunity, essentially, where he's like, look, I suck at training people for Mortal Kombat. Nobody wants to do it. I keep hurting everybody. This is a ready-made guy. So let's just bring him into the fold. Good to go. Easy. Raiden will be like, wow, you actually did it without hurting somebody. Big wins all around.
So, sometime on their walk, Zero must have convinced Kassar to come back because they both returned to town, and Kassar's ready to like join the good guys and be with Hannah and be cool and patch up things with his brother and get over all of their baggage over their shitty dad.
Yeah.
And be a good guy for once, right? So now they're all just hanging out at the trading post, having like a big dinner, laughing. Kassar's wearing Zero's other pair of clothes, which is a really fun detail for me.
Yeah, his costume change is in there.
He's no longer in
everybody except for Kung Lao kind of has two looks, so
yeah.
Yeah, of course. And they couldn't afford a separate two looks, so.
No,
right.
Kung Lao's not really a fashionista in that way.
Mm-hmm.
No. He's a humble monk. He needs one pair of boots, one pair of pants, and one shirt.
Will.
Oh, he certainly is.
No, there's some shitty monks too. There's some unhumble monks for sure. So after dinner, they all decide that they're going to go out to Zhuzhen Applebee's for a drink. But Kassar and Zero stay behind to do the dishes. So Kung Lao goes off with Taja and Ava Mendez. And they're gone for a while. They're gone for a while. They're waiting. Zero and Kassar don't catch up. So I guess they sort of call it a night and they head back. And what they find when they return is Zero standing over Kassar's dead body in the streets outside of the trading post.
Now I know what it looks like. It looks like I killed my brother that I spent most of my life hating. That's an understandable reaction.
Yeah.
However, it is slightly more complicated than that.
Barely.
But slightly.
Slightly.
Yeah. Scorpion killed him.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Scorpion came to town, fought the Zero brothers, and killed Kassar, and then just left instead of killing anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Can I make a quick note, by the way?
Sure.
Kassar and Cabral are both spelled with a C.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like pointed. Like, why are they doing this?
That's what separates the universes, really. Like, that's why this is Conquest with a C also.
That was a missed opportunity, too, yeah. There are Wikipedia
100%.
pages that insist it's Conquest with a K, and I feel like we should maybe go correct those.
There are also sources that insist it was called Mortal Kombat Crusades.
What?
What?
Yeah. Yeah, that was an early working title.
Oh. Huh. With a C, though.
With a C still, yeah.
Idiotic. All right.
That's the end of episode 11.
Wow.
Scorpion kills Zero's brother just as they were patching up their relationship.
Yeah.
And
is there anything Scorpion won't take from them?
No.
No.
Jesus.
No, he's a real dick in this.
Yeah,
he's
sucks.
pure evil in this. 100%.
Yeah, like obviously other versions or iterations of Scorpion, I should say, have like a degree of redeeming quality.
Complexity, maybe?
Yeah,
you could say.
Nuance. Not here.
Yeah, not here. No.
And I do say I'm a little disappointed that so much of this is Kung Lao's perspective, because there's some good bits that are like villain-only zones. So there's a little bit of fun missing from this discussion from those.
And that's the reason that you guys should listen to MK Podquest.
Wow. Saying it to a group of people that definitely already do.
Preaching to the proverbial choir, but you never know. There might be some people who don't listen to the show. And here's the thing.
Surely.
This is simply MK Podquest in miniature. Like, if you really want to dig in and you really want to understand
totally.
the nuances of the Zeros, Cabrals, and Kassars of the world.
You want to find out about Zero's dad? You got to listen. You want to find out what Taja was doing in the Cobalt Mines.
If you want to find out about Taj's dad, if you want to find out about...
Ultimately, guys,
you want to find out more about Jen's dad.
My takeaway here is that Mortal Kombat Conquest is a show where someone involved was very invested in the ongoing serialized story.
Oh, yeah.
And either other people involved or the budget really seemed to be zigging and zagging out of it into its own way at every turn, because it feels like there's an interesting serialized story in here, and then a lot of weird nonsense keeps plugging it up.
Oh, that is a completely fair assessment.
In a way that, to be clear, I enjoy quite a bit.
Yeah, it's 100%.
It's a super fun, super entertaining show to watch. It really is. Just I say it jokingly,
and it's not canon,
but I'm like half serious.
Well, we're going to make an argument that it could be.
There are parts of it.
Is this a timeline that has been erased?
I think so. I think this is a timeline that exists. Honestly, I'm not prepared to make that case right now. Maybe next time I'll have like charts and graphs and stuff to prove that this is in continuity, that this is one of the many timelines that has been reset by Chronica. But I'm not fully prepared to do that right now. Right now, my brain space is just taken up with tracking this orb that we followed through 4 different cartoon series. And
the orb.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the orb.
Yeah, the Warrior
guys,
King's
the
orb.
Capital
Warrior
O
King's
orb. It's the Warrior King's orb.
The orb. Wow. Well, guys, once again, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's always fun.
Yeah, for sharing the saga of Zero and Kung Lao and Taja and Vorpax. And Cabral.
Clearly very memorable.
Kassar, and Quan Chi, the Unholy Alliance, the Shang Tsung,
Mika, Cian, Sora.
Mika, to Sora. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I do look forward to finding out in the next installment of this crossover whether Scorpion's going to get some comeuppance for being so mean all the time.
Actually, in the next chunk, we are going to see him again. We're going to get to the episode where he and Sub-Zero have to team up.
Now that's what I call an unholy alliance. Thank you.
It lands every time. Well, guys, thank you so much for once again crossing over with the show and for sharing and making this happen. Podcast patrons, thank you for patronizing. And as always, take it away, guys.
Finish him.
Finish him.
That was close. We almost got it.
We'll fix it in the edit.
No, we won't.